and changed your mind, decided you wanted to study? What was that? Did I get that right? Or something
Pretty
sort
much.
of right?
Sort of.
What was that?
I was in high school. I was going, having a real good time in high school, and Dad knew I wasn't studying my books a whole lot, but he knew I was having fun, and he met me on the doorsteps coming back from Milton one morning, and I was going to catch the bus and go to school. And he said, Kenyon, when he got even with me on the steps, he said, you can put your books up, you won't be going to school today.
Oh.
And I was kind of shocked. I didn't have but one thing to do.
Wow.
He just gave me one thing that I could do. And so I saw him, and next time I saw him, next little bit, I saw him after he got through milking and everything. I met him again out, and I says, well, Daddy, you stopped me from school. What you want me to do? I said, well, I believe I would advise you to get you a job and go to work.
Oh.
So I did. I worked till the next year, and I just knew he would let me go then, because I knew he wanted me to have an education. I knew that. But school started. He didn't let me go again. Because I wasn't studying. So I had to stay out till the next year, and I just knew then he'd let me go then. But I had to get some help to get by that time. I was sitting on a big old rock right below where Aunt Ruby, you know where she lives.
Mm-hmm.
There's some big old rocks between her house and the creek down there.
Okay.
And I was sitting on one of those big rocks one night. I was possum hunting. I'd go hunting possum at night time. And
Did
so,
you just shoot them, or did you eat them? Did you eat possum, or you just shot them?
no, we ate some of the possum.
Make
We put them
stew
in
or
a
something?
put them in a
Coop.
Cooked them up and fed them, and we ate them.
Like in a stew or something, or just
Yeah,
eat the meat?
Roasted them, I think, Wilma.
roasted.
So you were on the rock possum hunting at night?
Huh?
You were sitting on the rock possum hunting?
Yeah,
And what happened?
and something spoke to me just as plain as it could be. It wasn't no make-believe. And it said, "You're the biggest fool in the world." And And I jumped up off of the rock and I says, I sure am. And I kept walking when I got up. And I walked on to the house, and Mom and Dad were asleep. And I went in, woke him up, and I said, Dad, I'm ready to go to school, if you'll let me go. And he said, well, I've been waiting for this.
Wow.
He turned over and went back to sleep.
My goodness.
And,
so he was just waiting all along for you to be the one to say.
For me
you
to
were
start
ready.
studying my lessons.
Huh.
And instead of just going, I'd get to have the car. He'd let me have the car anywhere I wanted to go, to a singing school, or he was lenient with the automobile with me. But, oh well.
Wow. Well, that's a bigger.
And Cannon got himself, made the principal put him with his class that he had dropped out from.
They agreed.
If he would make the grade, isn't that right?
Oh,
The principal.
The high school principal, I told him I wanted to get back in school, but I wanted to be with my class
Right.
that I left from. He said, Kenyon, I taught you geometry, and said, you just made fair grades in it. Says, you can't do that. You know you can't. And I said, well, why don't you give me a chance and let me see. After a while, I didn't give up with him. I told him that I'd make the grade. And so he let me in, provided I made
Wow.
good grades, you know.
Was that 2 years you skipped?
Yeah.
Wow.
One, two, was it?
I
Just
skipped.
one, wasn't it?
2
One.
semesters.
Yeah. Well, I skipped the rest of the year when I stopped the first time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on up to about 6 weeks. School had been going on 6 weeks. And I thought that was time enough for Dad to let me go.
Wow.
Anyway,
Well, he was very wise. Your
well,
dad.
he knew when I was studying and when I was not.
He waited for you to be
Yeah.
ready instead of telling
And
you.
he
when.
knew I had to get ready myself.
Right. Well, that's a good lesson in parenting too. You know.
Well, I had some help along the way. I had bought an old mule that walked fast. Boy, he was a stepper.
A fast mule.
And he'd plow, and Dad sent me to buy him. He learned about him, and I went up and to Mr. McDonald, and sure enough, it was a fine-looking mule standing down. He was plowing it when I drove up, but he saw me coming, and he stopped the plow and let the mule stand right there. And he came and met me at the house and to talk to me about the mule, because he was a mule trader. That's what he did. So
That was your dad.
I went on to the house and
No, that was the
Mr.
owner of the
McDonald.
mule.
Oh, that mule's owner.
Yeah, that was a mule that time.
Hmm.
And so he was a stepper. but he would hit a stump or a rock, the plow would hit it, and then the plow would kick me in the stomach.
Oh.
And that's where I got my last inspiration.
To be a farmer.
Yeah.
Oh.
That plow, see, the mule was stepping good and hit a rock, and the plow handle kicked me
Oh.
right in the bottom of my belly.
So that was your option. If you didn't go to school, then you would work the fields, be a farmer. Was that your other option?
Yeah, to go to work.
Is that what you did while you weren't in school? You were working the fields?
Yeah,
In the fields?
yeah, I worked around.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Papa.
And did we record all that?
We did.
Oh.
Yeah.